Hi there, welcome back. I'm Daniel. This is the Guilty Library somewhere in the Middle East, and this is my channel, Guilty Feet I've Got No Rhythm. And today I'm starting the first in a series called Match, Mismatch, where I look at two sets of books, either series or set of books by the same author, where one of them are all matching editions and the other one isn't. It's really just an excuse to talk about different books from the collection, where I got them, how I came to them, and tell some stories about books and reading and book buying. So some of these may be familiar to you on BookTube and have been discussed elsewhere, and some of them may be BookTube virgins, so please be gentle. And if you like this kind of thing, I think we probably have enough matched and mismatched sets here to do more of these, so let me know what you think. The first one I'm going to talk about is fairly well discussed and familiar to people on BookTube, and that's Jeff Vandermeer's Southern Reach trilogy, and these were first published all within 6 months. So it was 3 volumes that came out individually but over a very short space of time, so they were always conceived as a trilogy, and they were published within quick succession. And I probably didn't come across it until I think the first time I saw it, I may have heard about it, but the first time I actually saw it in the wild was after they had already been collected. So I think I saw a 1-volume version, so with all 3 volumes of the Southern Reach trilogy collected in 1 volume, and it was a paperback. And it might have been a bit of a stretch at that point. I was on my radar, but it was a bit of a commitment to buy all 3, and it was an expensive, paperback would have been £12–13. Just a bit beyond my ability to pull the trigger at that time, so I put it to one side. A couple of years later, we were on a trip to the UK, and we were visiting the great city of Bath. Those of you who know Bath, this city on the west of England, famous, I guess, for pump rooms and Jane Austen novels, but it's also a great city for books. Not just because of its literary heritage. There was a covered market with a fabulous second-hand bookstore where I picked up a couple of Ian Rankin's Rebus books, and then also a fabulous independent bookstore called Mr. B's Emporium. Highly recommend, if you get to Bath, check out Mr. B's Emporium. One of the things they do at Mr. B's Emporium, because I've done my research ahead of this trip, is they have this book clinic where you can sign up, you pay, I think it was £70, so not cheap, but it's redeemable against books that you buy, I think. Again, look it up. I'll put a link to Mr. B's Emporium in the notes, and you can go to this clinic where you tell them the kind of books that you like and books that you've read recently and books that you've enjoyed, and someone sits with you for an hour and makes one-to-one recommendations based on the books that you've loved, and what a treat. And I actually had got my shit together for once in my life and had called them about 8 weeks before my trip. I knew exactly which day we were going to be in Bath, and they didn't have space for me. So kind of disappointing, but then I got to Mr. B's anyway and cheekily eavesdropped onto one of the book clinics that someone else was paying for. I was browsing the shelves and listening because they were doing it in a couple of armchairs in the middle of the room. So I got a couple of great recommendations that were for someone else and bought some of those. I remember in the store I bought a copy of a fabulous graphic novel called The Thrilling Adventures of Lovelace and Babbage, about Ada Lovelace and Charles Babbage and the birth of computing. So that's great, I bought that. But one of the books that I went back downstairs, and one of the booksellers there tried to hand sell me this copy of Annihilation, the first of the Southern Reach trilogy, and this was the first time I'd seen the hardback, and it's just gorgeous. I don't know if you can see this and whether you can see the kind of glossiness of the thing. It's that hardback with no dust cover, so I love that. I love a non-dust covered hardback. I don't take off the dust covers, but selling it like this I think is fabulous. I don't think I pulled the trigger there. I think I waited again. I left there with some other purchases, but I think maybe they didn't have the first one and they only had the second and the third one. Whatever it was, I'd seen them, and once I'd seen them in hardback, I decided that if I could, I would try and get the series in hardback, so not the 1 volume. I'd buy each of them. And I bought this later on the Amazon marketplace. I paid £7.71 for this. It has a cover price of £10.99, so not a full hardback price for a big new front list hardback, but still a little more than I like to average on a book, and so I picked this up. And then I picked up the second and the third ones also on Amazon Marketplace from a different seller, and these cost me £6.08 each, and they both have cover price of £12.99. So I got these, for less than half price. And just look, that's the second volume, that's Authority, and then you have, that's the third volume, Acceptance, and altogether they make the most handsome set of books, which I really love. They're published by For the State, as I say, just glorious, and they sit beautifully on the shelf, filed under V for Vandermeer. Story-wise, they were terrific, really spooky. As I say, I'm not a hard science fiction fan. These are weirdo, spooky stuff. I haven't seen the movie. I think it was a Netflix movie of Annihilation starring Natalie Portman, and I have been in a movie with Natalie Portman, but it's so hard to keep up with each other's projects, so I didn't see that. That's a true story. So that is the Southern Reach trilogy, and a matching set. My Mismatch set is by an author more familiar for his standalone books, I think. So Dennis Lehane is an American East Coast, I think Boston, right? I think definitely Boston writer, famous for Mystic River, was made into a movie for which Tim Robbins won an Oscar, and Shutter Island is based on one of his standalones. And this is a set of 6 private eye novels. There's 6 so far. I guess he could come back and write more, but I think he may have finished the story. The protagonists are 2 young working class Bostonians called Patrick Kenzie and Angie Gennaro, and they are both professionally and occasionally romantically involved with each other, and these are hard-boiled, definite part of the line from Chandler onwards, sort of street level PIs. I think they're unlicensed PIs, and the first one I picked up is this A Drink Before the War. So I bought this in a second-hand bookshop in St. Petersburg, Florida. I was there on a business trip, representing a company that was presenting at a kink convention. Long story. And I took the afternoon off and made my way to, this is from Wilson's Book World in St. Petersburg, 2394 MLK Street, if you're interested in. So that's thing, and you can see I would have paid $4 for this. If I ever bring it back, I'll get $2 in trade for it. What I loved about this edition was this was the first, in the way the books were shelved, this was the first one of the L's for Lehane, and because I bought it, I got the L sticker. So I don't know how they differentiate between K's, L's and M's now, but because I have their L book. So that was a great little purchase. I love this dirty mass market paperback. It's a great way to read some crime fiction. This one also actually happens to have been withdrawn from the Vancouver City Library, so North Vancouver City Library. So if anyone here has been to the North Vancouver City Library, please leave me a note in the comments. So I picked up the first 2 in these lovely, both of them, these Harper Torch mass market paperbacks. This one was $4, cover price $7.99. This was $3.50, cover price $7.99, and they were great. I think they look great together. I love the design scheme on those, and decided already once I had these that I would pick up the rest in the series. So my most trusted service for picking up backlist books, I use a company called awesomebooks.com. I think they're based in the UK. The great thing about Awesome Books is they have a great bargain selection, very reasonably priced, and they ship worldwide for a flat fee of £2.99, which means that the larger your order, the lower your shipping costs. So this was an order that I bought 16 books altogether, had them shipped to me here in Israel, and I bought the final 4 in the series because I knew that I was going to read them all. So the third one came. This is Sacred, and this was also, despite the fact this came from the UK, this was another one of these fabulous Harper Torch mass market paperbacks. So absolutely in line with the ones I had. I was very pleased to get that. And then the fourth one came, and that also matched the whole thing. So that is Gone Baby Gone. This was the one that was made into a movie. This was, I believe, Ben Affleck's directorial debut, starring his brother as Casey, as Patrick Kenzie, and is it Michelle Monaghan as Angie Gennaro? Anyway, terrific movie, and it's a terrific book. So I was going 4 for 4 at this point, and feeling very pleased with myself. And then I opened up the rest of the package from Awesome Books, and I got book 5, which after 4 US mass market paperbacks, I got a British edition. I don't know what they call this. This is a B-list. I don't know what the correct title for that is, but as you can see, it doesn't really match the rest of them. And you know, I'd have probably been okay if I stopped there, but unfortunately, the last book in the series came, and that was a total disaster. So, Prayers for Rain is the last one. It comes, I think, about 10 years after Gone Baby Gone, so time has passed, and time passes in real time in the book. So in Gone Baby Gone is about a child that goes missing, and in Prayers for Rain, the child time has passed, and we find out what actually has happened, and conclude the story for Kenzie and Gennaro. Fabulous books. If you like the detectives, if you have a sense of the gritty street level realness, and the writing is just terse and sharp and wonderful. This passage from the first book, Patrick Kenzie is invited to meet a prospective client who happens to be the local senator for Boston, or a state senator for Massachusetts, and this is give you a taste of the writing. Sterling Mulkern was a florid, beefy man, the kind who carried weight like a weapon, not a liability. He had a shock of stiff white hair you could land a DC-10 on, and a handshake that stopped just short of inducing paralysis. He'd been state Senate Majority Leader since the end of the Civil War or so, and he had no plans for retirement. He said, "Pat, lad, nice to see you again." He also had an affected Irish brogue that he'd somehow acquired growing up in South Boston. It's just no bullshit, short sentences, wit. It's full of charm. Really highly recommend if you read any kind of if you like detective fiction, if you like PIs, if you like street level grittiness, then Kenzie and Gennaro. But if you do, I hope you get a set that matches better than mine. And that is Mismatch for today. Let me know if you like this kind of content, because I have lots of other sets that either match or mismatch. That's all. Thank you very much for watching. Take care. Bye.